AUSense team. Now, I want to start by talking about the problem that we have today. Now, our problem is that about 1% of the worldwide population is suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, and based on our calculations, about 20% of those are being treated with Humira. And although that seems like a relatively small figure, this is 14 million patients we're talking about. Now, most of these 14 million patients are receiving non-optimal treatment, and this is due to the current medical lab test status. And first of all, it's very, very expensive, where it ranges from about 200 to 500 euros. Because the patients can't afford it, so most of the physicians rely on their expertise, their best estimate to give the dosage, which results in lots of errors. It's also time-consuming, where it takes from about 7 to 45 days to get the results. And this on its own makes it inaccessible, but it's also inaccessible because it's only available in hospitals and medical labs. Now, the solution that our little device offers is that it's affordable. It's also accessible to everyone because we aim to expand to pharmacies, to rheumatologist clinics. We aim to expand to medical labs and all hospitals all over the world. It's accurate, and it produces those accurate results in about 3 minutes. And it's profitable, not only for the business, but we're talking about profitable for the investments. They get a good return on their investment. And it's profitable for insurance companies as well. And it's environmentally friendly because the electrodes can be reusable. It's also quite small and portable, so it's very easy. To enter the market with such a portable device. Now, our business strategy to secure the market coverage to that device is mainly aimed to increase market coverage. So in order to do that, we're going to be selling our device itself in trust, and so we'll be requiring no initial funding from, requiring no initial funding from the customers. But in order to get that cost, in order to get a return on that investment, we're going to be increasing the price of the first 200 electrodes by 5 euros each time. The electrodes themselves, the cartridge itself, will be considered a fixed asset of the company, and we estimate that it's going to be depreciated at 20% per annum. So that means that we're not actually selling the electrode itself, but rather the layer on top of the electrode. So the customer can recycle the electrode, and we're going to relayer it and give it to them back. Now, we forecast that we will achieve a minimum of €1 net profit per electrode, and because of the size of our market, and if you only aim to reach 10% of the market, then that's 1.4 million patients. And if each of those 1.4 million patients runs 6 tests a year, then that's 8.4 million euros in revenue. And in order to achieve that, we must develop our product. So we're going to be working from our prototype to further research and develop that, to eliminate any pre-treatment, work with whole blood, and eliminate inaccuracies. We're going to strive to obtain the license from the FDA and the IFZR, and we're simultaneously going to be creating an app to fill the gap in the market of timely communication between the doctors and the patients. And we're also going to be started by launching in the Middle East region because they receive very, very expensive treatment, and they really, really need that technology. And we're going to be further expanding to other companies according to this development plan. Now, our office will be, we plan to have our office based in Cairo, Egypt, and then launch our product in the Middle East, as I said. Then move our way to the US because they have a very big population, and we'll achieve a very big market. And move to the EU and then to Australia and the Far East region. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your pitch. Are there any questions from jury members? Yes?
You speak about 10%.
Yes.
When do you plan to reach that 10%?
We plan to reach that 10% when we launch in the Middle East region. It's like, probably the first year or so, because we have a very big population in the Middle East, and lots of them actually suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. So, because our device is very cheap, and because the test for rheumatoid arthritis now available in the Middle East costs about 600 euros. Actually, and it takes 45 days to complete because it travels abroad. So I think that would secure our first 10%, and then maybe we'll continue growing from there, but I think that's our plan.
Okay, and how do you plan to launch that? Because you spoke of in your document about launching an extensive marketing and awareness program prior to the launch of your project. How do you try to finance that even before launching the project?
Yeah, so we're going to be speaking to mutual fund institutions or capital ventures to try to get a proof of concept fund first, because we need to market for the device, we need to market for awareness of monitoring Humira, because thing is that even if you're under-treating or over-treating, that's still a cost to the insurance companies as well, because under-treatment results in the formation of like anti-adalimumab antibodies, and it increases that risk. So it results in the patient going to the hospital a lot more, and then it results to it results in the patient going to the hospital a lot more, and it results in the need to change the medication. So we're going to be going to insurance companies, showing them that with our device they're getting the best possible income.
So the marketing is focused on the insurance companies?
Insurance companies and to the doctors as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you for your pitch. You mentioned that you would give the device to the hospitals and then charge them for the relayering.
Yeah.
And you put a price point on that. But can you tell us what the amount of financing is that you would need to get to a break even?
Okay, so the device costs us you mean the number of electrodes that we need to sell to cover the amount?
No, how much financing would you, if I'm an investor, and you need money, and you come to me and say I need X amount of dollars, euros, how much would you need?
Okay, so this really depends on how big our launch is going to be, and we still need to study the market a little bit more to know the best, the customers with the least risk to give that device to, because I guess we first need to give it to the big companies that we know would sell to the big, lots of patients, like certain pharmacies, and so it depends on our market study, and it depends on how many devices that we plan to make and release in the market, I guess, initially. But yeah, it's going to be a lot because each device costs 1,000 euros, as I said. But I think that the return on the investment of our business plan is sufficient to make them give that money away.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to go a little bit deeper on it, because one of the threats you mentioned is that rapid technology advancement would compromise your project. Yes. So although you need the marketing money, you need the investment, you also need to rapidly develop your technology as you think it's going to be a threat to the project itself.
Yeah,
so
I think it's...
what time limit do you put on that?
Okay, so I think it's going to be a threat, but not in the first couple of years. So we're going to be, we first need our research and development money to launch the product. But then after that, I think it's going to take, we estimate it's going to take about 2 years to then start catching up and researching more and more and more. But at first, we do need the marketing money, the distribution money. We won't have that much funding, so we can't really keep on with the research the first year or two, I guess.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I was just wondering, in your presentation, you made an estimate of the times a year you think a patient will be using the sensor.
Yes.
And you said 6 times a year. And I was wondering, is that based on research? Is it a hunch?
No. I actually asked 2 rheumatologists in Egypt, and we were talking about the number of times that a patient should get monitored. And he said that the optimal would be once a month, but then they can't do that. So being conservative, I said, okay, let's do it once every 2 months. Okay. So that's where this figure comes from.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.